Hi, I'm Kate Geagan, the Earth's Best Nutritionist, and I'm here this weekend at the American Academy of Pediatrics in beautiful New Orleans, and we're talking to pediatricians to find out their thoughts on organic infant and toddler foods. Why are they recommending them and why it's important to them? So really looking forward to the day. We're gonna have a lot of fun. Also giving away my book, Go Green, Get Lean, so stick around. So first question, do you recommend organics to your patients? And if so, why?
I think organic is good. Parents today are very concerned about what goes in their child's mouth. And if I start at a very early age with introducing good quality foods, and the word organic comes to mind, it helps parents feel a lot more comfortable in what they're feeding their child.
I do recommend organics, and I'm interested in minimizing exposure to chemicals and pesticides and residues from farm production in the foods that babies are exposed to.
I think they're really important, and when we are talking about things that can make a big impact in children's lives, I think choosing a healthy food that goes in their body that's free of dyes and pesticides is a very important start. I mean, the brain development is so tremendous during the first few years of life that to provide something organic and healthy and wholesome is really key for kids.
The quality of nutrition for kids has to start very young in life, very early. You want to make sure that you instill a certain quality and responsibility in the parents about how they feed their kids, what they think about when they choose the foods that they do feed their kids.
What's the #1 question you find parents have when it comes to starting their infant on solids? And what's first solid food that you recommend?
Solids should be introduced from a spoon. When babies are neurologically able to take solid from a spoon, push it to the back of their mouth and swallow it themselves.
I usually have them start with a rice cereal type of a product just because it tends to be pretty bland, it's really well tolerated, it's gentle on the digestive system, and then once the babies kind of seem to have the hang of it, then I tell them to start introducing some of the vegetables and fruits.
Are there any key nutrients that you look for in infant and toddler foods?
I like to see some protein.
Yeah.
Okay, carbohydrates have gotten a bad rap. It's not the worst thing in the world, but on the other hand, if the child learns to take protein well, that to me is the basis for good growth and development.
Well, I'm always looking at iron content, okay, and vitamins, of course, A, C, and D, and I'm also looking at protein content in foods.
I want to make sure they're getting iron, and that doesn't necessarily mean that all baby foods need to be supplemented with iron, but for example, I really encourage them to try to work in some iron fortified cereal a couple times a day in addition to some of their other solids. But mostly it's about having a good variety so that they can get the nutrients, something that's found in carrots may not be in the green beans or may not be in applesauce, and so if they're choosing a variety, then they're hopefully going to hit all of their major nutrients.
All right, I have to ask, it's the #1 thing that I hear as a registered dietitian. What do you tell your patients about how to cure picky eating?
I give them choices. You can have this or you can have this. What would you like today? And you can start that even at a very early age. I think children understand they're going to eat. How much? It may vary from day to day, but by giving them some choices and good parent modeling, I think is helpful.
Mostly I tell the parents not to worry so much, because mostly if left to their own devices, the kids will end up eating. And hunger and thirst are really powerful drives in people, so a normal healthy child is not going to let themselves starve or become malnourished just out of spite, just because they don't want to eat what's for dinner.
I think that it's just about continuing to expose them in lots of different ways. Kids are going to learn by example, and so I tell my parents that if they're expecting their kids to eat vegetables, they have to eat vegetables, and that they have to really introduce them in lots of different ways and be creative about stuff.
Well, that's all for today. I know I learned a lot talking with all these pediatricians today, and I hope you did too. I invite you to continue the conversation with us on Facebook and Twitter and at earthsbest.com.